Separating myth from fact has always been a challenge for those seeking true history. And while there's plenty of information about Marie Laveau and her daughter in the legends and lore of New Orleans, most of the information has been embellished with hearsay and drama, making an already larger-than-life persona absolutely formidable in the tales that survive. Perhaps you remember her role on American Horror Story.
Mama's had a hard day.
Put the baby down on the ground and step away from
Don't mess with me! I need this baby!
Put the goddamn baby down! Now!
I warned you!
Despite any embellishments producers have added to her character, there's not a single person who grew up in New Orleans without hearing about the legend and powers of the city's infamous Queen of Voodoo. This is the real story.
There is a house in New Orleans. They call the rising sun. It's been the ruin of many a poor girl and God. I know I'm one.
Marie Laveau is best known to the world as the most famous and powerful voodoo queen of North America. In actuality, this famous icon was really two people, a famous mother and daughter who epitomized the sensational and exotic appeal of Africanized voodoo in 19th and 20th century New Orleans. Both women thrived against the strong ethnic backdrop of this first American melting pot, the gumbo that is New Orleans, and their legend grew along with their patrons. Both the wealthy and impoverished sought them out to seek the aid of their dark powers to control lovers, gain fame and fortune, get pregnant, and even to exact revenge on others. Marie I, the mother, was born a free woman of color in New Orleans around 1794. Some legends say she was a mix of black, white, and Native American blood, while other legends describe her as a Creole, a descendant of the great French and Spanish aristocracies. Either way, it is likely that she may have had the blood of every one of these ethnic groups coursing through her veins. Marie's marriage to Jacques Pelly, a free man of color from Haiti, is recorded on August 4, 1819. These same records also list for the first time her parents, Charles Laveau and Marguerite da Contrelle. Marie was described as being very statuesque and beautiful, with curly black hair, golden skin, and very tall. She and her husband Jacques took up residence in a house that was part of her dowry from Charles Laveau in the 1900 block of North Rampart Street. Jacques disappeared soon after the marriage, perhaps returning to Saint Dominique. A death certificate was filed 5 years later without any certificate of interment. It is then that Marie began addressing herself as the widow Pelly. She then took up employment as a hairdresser, catering to the wealthy women of New Orleans. It is this that is considered the root of her enduring legend. Many women looked upon Marie as a confidant, confessing their most intimate secrets and desires about their husbands and lovers, the estates of their families, their husbands' mistresses, and their private business affairs. What began as the delivery of broad-shouldered good advice from one woman to another ultimately grew into a force and a legend that still resonates throughout New Orleans. Around 1826, Marie took up with Louis Christophe Dumny de Clapon, a man also from Saint Dominique. They lived in Marie's North Rampart Street house until his death in 1855. Although she and Clapon never married, Marie had 15 children by him in rapid succession and ultimately ended her hairdressing career to devote all of her energies to raising them. However, Marie by no means lost her clientele. As she settled into domestic life on Rampart Street, she also set about becoming the legend, the Voodoo Queen of New Orleans. Voodoo had been secretly practiced in and around New Orleans since the first boatload of slaves arrived from Africa and the Caribbean. Tales circulated of hidden and secret rituals being held deep in the bayou, complete with the worship of a snake god called Zombie, dancing, drinking, and lovemaking. Almost a third of worshippers were white, desirous of obtaining the power that was promised by the priests and mambos directing the rituals. These meetings frightened much of the population, and many slave owners feared that their slaves were planning an uprising against them, as had happened in Haiti. As a result, in 1817, the New Orleans Municipal Council passed a resolution forbidding slaves and black people in general to gather for dancing or any other purpose except for on Sundays, and only in places the mayor designated. This spot was the Congo Square on North Rampart Street. It is at this spot that the Voodooists met, danced, and sang in the stylized rituals, overtly worshipping their gods while entertaining and oftentimes frightening other people. By the 1830s, there were many voodoo mambos in New Orleans fighting over control of the Sunday Congo Square dances and the secret ceremonies still held on the shores of Lake Pontchartrain. But when Marie Laveau stepped forward to begin her reign, she quickly gained control of the Congo Square dances by entering before all the other dancers and entertaining the fascinated onlookers with her snake. Marie knew the sensation that the rituals were causing and used it to further the purposes of the voodoo movement in New Orleans. She invited the press, police, and other thrill-seekers of the forbidden fun to attend. Marie, being a devout and practicing Catholic, added holy water, incense, statues of the saints, and Christian prayers to the voodoo ceremonies. Her entrepreneurial efforts went even further by organizing secret orgies for wealthy white men seeking beautiful black and mixed women for mistresses. Marie presided over these meetings herself, and they invariably became secret public knowledge. Eventually, Marie Laveau became the most powerful woman in New Orleans. Whites of every class sought her help in their various affairs, while African Americans viewed her as their leader. Judges paid her as much as $1,000 to assure victory in their elections, while whites paid her $10 for a love powder. Despite the amount of money she was making, back then $10 was considered a lot, she never charged the black community for her services. At the age of 70 in 1869, Marie gave her very last performance as a voodoo queen. She announced she was retiring and relocating to a home on St. Anne Street in the Old Quarter. Despite her announcement, Marie continued to work until 1875, giving readings in her home. On June 16, 1881, Marie I died in her St. Anne Street house. Reporters of the day described her as a saintly figure who nursed the sick, prayed incessantly with the diseased and condemned, and was the recipient in the fullest degree of the gift of beauty. Articles claimed she lived a pious life surrounded by her Catholic religion, with no mention of her voodoo past. Even one of her surviving children claimed her saintly mother never practiced voodoo and despised the cult. It is then that a similar tall woman with beautiful black eyes and the ability to control lives emerged and called herself Marie Laveau II. Marie II was born February 2, 1827, as one of Marie's 15 children. It was never known for sure if Marie chose the role for her daughter or if Marie II chose the role for herself, but one thing was for sure. Marie II shared her mother's features to an extraordinary degree, a virtual replica of Marie. Some say the pupils of her eyes were half moon-shaped, and this is the only way you could tell the two apart physically. Personality-wise, however, they were very different. Marie II lacked the warmth and compassion of her mother and inspired fear and subservience. Like Marie I, she also began to work as a hairdresser, but eventually abandoned that profession to run a bar and a brothel on Bourbon Street. Marie II continued operations at the Maison Blanche, the house which her mother allegedly had built for secret voodoo meetings and liaisons between white men and black women, and was proclaimed to be a talented procuress, able to fulfill any man's desires for a price. Lavish parties were held here, offering fine food, champagne, music, and naked black women dancing for white men, usually politicians and high officials. Despite the amounts of higher-up officials that went into the Maison Blanche, they were never raided by the police, who feared that if they crossed Marie II, she would hoodoo them. Marie II continued in the rich traditions and persona of the Voodoo Queen began by her mother so many years before. The St. John's Day celebrations were especially connected to the voodoo rituals of the time, celebrated along the shores of the St. John's Bayou. The St. John celebration of 1872 began as a religious ceremony in the tradition of Marie I. Marie II came with a crowd singing, and soon a cauldron was boiling with water from a beer barrel, into which went salt, black pepper, a black cat, a black rooster, various powders, and a snake sliced into 3 pieces to represent Trinity. It was then that the practitioners sang a song in honor of Marie I and quickly stripped down and swam in the lake. The celebrations ended with 30 minutes of sexual intercourse and a final sermon from Marie II, who continued these yearly rituals throughout her lifetime. Marie II, unlike her mother, died well within the public eye when she apparently drowned in the 1890s, but some people have recorded seeing her as late as 1918. Death, however, did not end the power of the great Marie Laveau. Though Marie I is reportedly buried in the family crypt in St. Louis Cemetery No. 1, the vault bears the name of Marie Glapion, deceased June 11, 1897. If this inscription is correct, this would rightly be the burial place of Marie II. However, in St. Louis Cemetery No. 2, there is another vault bearing the name Marie Laveau with a wishing tomb where young women can go to petition the great Voodoo Queen when seeking husbands. Either way, both vaults attract the curious and the faithful from all corners of the globe, who bring gifts of flowers, candles, money, and even food. And then there are some who believe the great Voodoo Queen is immortal and never died. Those who believe this say she visits the cemeteries herself in disguise, chuckling with amusement at the devotees who honor her legend even now.